I'm back again. I feel like I say this, but I still post every week. So you still have something to look forward to. However, last week was a doozy. So, for a little bit more context before I really get into what this video was actually about, I have been experiencing a lot of wrist pain. And as an artist, it's kind of like your worst kind of jump scare because it's like, oh, my wrists are hurting. Why? Trying to figure it out, you know? Um, and I did. It's called me icing my wrist, wrapping my wrist. If you guys follow me on TikTok, yeah, I kind of posted like a specifically this painting here on there, and I think it's funny because people were like in my comments like, "What happened to you?" And I'm like, I don't know either. My wrists are just really in pain. So yeah. So when I was like editing that video, I was like, I don't have the energy to record, to use a lot of energy to edit these videos because it puts a lot of strain on my wrist, specifically using the mouse that I use. So yeah. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed the blooper roll or the blooper reel, however you guys want to call it. I call it blooper reel. I think it was funny. I called it brain rot edition only because I included the lizard. I love the lizard. The lizard is so much fun. By the way, lizard.
Lizard.
I'm kind of stuck here. Yeah. Well, this is life after graduation. Talking about the real reason why I recorded this video. And no, this is not the tea. I'm not spilling the drama. There's no problems. I simply just want to tell you guys about the Notion email mobile app that I got to test for 30 days. Notion email on desktop includes a customizable inbox view, AI-powered features such as smart labeling, drafts and writing assistance, and thread summaries, built-in scheduling, snippets and quick responses, Notion style editor, which is similar to the Notion block editor, Notion integration, which directly links to Pages and your workspace. I'm also actually still testing it to this day, and I'm helping them out with new releases, which is really cool and awesome in my eyes because I am a longtime user of Notion email, just Notion platform in general. So it's really cool to see it all really come to life. And so during this 30-day process, I recorded a video on the first day and I recorded a video on the second and third week. A little bit in between, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about the Notion app and my experience with it. So today was the first day of me using the app, which means it's my first impression of the beta app. So far, the beta app is really cool and interactive. It's very similar to what a Gmail account would be for me. And so seeing it, it's actually like, oh, okay, it's really coming together. So far, I haven't run into any bugs. Again, this is still my first day of using it. So I'm really excited to see what's in store. So by the end of week 1, we are currently on version 1.04, and this is a 45th version of the test app. And so far, it's been really interesting to see how it's kind of evolved from what it was before. When I first started using the app around day 3, it started like loading really strange, and that was actually fixed within the same week, which I thought was really interesting. And then over time, you kind of see like little improvements. So far, the app has been really cool to use in that sense. And I'm really looking forward to what happens in week 2. At the end of week 2, I kind of noticed that there was a lot of changes to the optimization of the app. And this includes like labels, especially adding a log out confirmation, which is really helpful because again, I was having login and log out issues previously. So as I'm going through these different versions, I'm really paying attention to it. When I first started off using the app on the first day and within the first week, it was consistently updating a lot to the point where I was like getting notifications about it being updated and developed at like 2 in the morning. And it was really strange for me at the time. But then I realized, like, you know, coding takes time, developing apps take time. And when they get done, it gets pushed through. And so going through this process was really, really cool, seeing how even though these apps are getting updated, like you're still able to put your opinion in there. And as I'm putting my opinion in there, I'm finding things out little by little, what works with the app, what doesn't. And as of September 2nd, we are on version 66, 1.0.11, which in my mind says a lot of work has been done and is continuing to be done. As I'm going through the app, it's not similar to Gmail, but I noticed that they were having a lot of issues with the connection process to Gmail and to other email accounts. At some point, I was logged out of my account or told to log back in, and that was usually fixed within the next couple of updates that it happened in. However, they released the app late August to the public. And when I saw that it was released to the public, I was like, oh, this is really exciting. I'm glad this is here. However, there are a couple of features that I wish were included. A, the star, which helps you notify what's important, what's not. And then B, the ability to add a label to certain things. So, as we all know with Gmail, you can add labels to emails, and that usually helps you organize your inbox. Well, in this case, I had connected to my Gmail account, and I was not able to edit the label, but the label was still on there. So if it was an email that I really didn't care for or didn't want the label on, I couldn't necessarily remove it or add it. It was just kind of there, and I would have to physically go into my Gmail inbox to do so. And so I found that a little confusing, especially when they wanted it to be an all-in-one platform, which includes Yahoo, Gmail, and other email platforms. Going further into this experiment, when I saw that they released the version to the public, I kind of asked myself, was it ready? I do have a couple of takeaways from testing the app over the last 30 days. The Gmail connection was a consistent issue. It was never just a one update thing. They were consistently trying to fix it. The same with the loading times. And there are a lot of public opinions about this at the moment with Notion email saying it wasn't ready to come out. This is happening. And I'm just like, whoa. It's not something you would expect, right? But from an insider perspective, I could see why others would say that. The app is just not ready to be put out there yet. If we're still having connection issues with things such as, logging into accounts with Gmail, and the biggest reason I said that is because it's happened to me multiple times. Actually, a couple days ago, I logged in to my Gmail account again. And for someone who's always on the go, who's always doing stuff, who's always needing to just check their emails and really quick and just keep moving, it was kind of a pain to have to re-put all my information. And I genuinely start thinking about, well, what if that person was, out and about, or they didn't have any Wi-Fi or connection to where they could relog back in, but they really needed to access their emails for a ticket or for an important statement. And you wouldn't be able to access said information because you're logged out of your account. Yes, it is an offline app, which is really, really exciting. However, if it continues to log you out of your Gmail account, you can no longer access your offline information. That was one of the biggest things for me, is that Notion always has an offline option. And when you're on the go, when you're busy, when you have a calendar or an event to go to and the checklist is on there, maybe you can still access that information without having a single cell service. So that's the biggest appeal. And so to lose that kind of appeal within the Notion email app of me having to consistently log out and log back in, it kind of becomes repetitive to the point where it's like, was it truly ready for beta? Like, was it truly ready to move out of beta testing? And so another issue I found, and it's not really even an issue for me per se, but I will say that it's a thing that is going to continuously happen, and that is the loading. Because again, when you log onto this email app, you don't necessarily have a Notion email. You're connecting to a third party, whether that be Gmail, Yahoo, or any of those other sorts. And so when I was connecting to Gmail, I would notice that my load times, they would eventually get faster as I would go down, but just starting off would be extremely slow. And this has also been another consistent problem they've been trying to fix throughout the other versions. And so with us being on version 66, I am hoping that these changes better the app, especially because it is in a public version now. So I will say that overall, these 30 days have been really interesting because, again, I got to see developers work their magic. And then I also got to see the ins and outs of how the app is being made, what makes the app different, and what makes the app better than most. And to that, I will say, although it's not ready yet for public version, in my opinion, it might be perfect for someone else who's using it, who wants a simplified app. And I'm glad that I can continue to be a part of this testing experience, because it is like truly one of the lifetime things for me. And so really going through this process has taught me a lot about the updates that are consistently needed to keep an app like this running, especially because we're connecting to third parties and we're connecting to a main hub as well. So it's been really interesting to see that. Coming together. The app is coming together. Y'all are on your way. Y'all are on your way. The app is coming together, okay? I think it was not ready for public beta in any shape or form, especially because you're still experiencing issues that you did in the testing phase. And maybe that's just something that they have to work out like separately apart from the app, but it's still something to consider before sending it out to the public.